We have the state fire marshal joining us on the program today, and I so appreciate Fire Marshal Coy Porter joining us today. Welcome to the program, and let's talk about these high temperatures. Let's talk about the lack of moisture, at least we've had here along the Wasatch Front, and some of the fires that are burning. How serious is it right now from an overall state perspective?
Doug, thanks for letting us jump in. Obviously, as the temperatures go up, then we get fuel moisture start plummeting, and with that a little bit wetter spring, we have a lot of very light fuels, grasses and stuff that sprang up, and now they're drying up, and it's going to be critical as we move in towards our celebratory time as we celebrate the 4th of July and the 24th. So it's going to be very critical. We've seen the fires down south, Pine Canyon, and the Saddle Fire, which Saddle Fire's not contained at this point. Pine Canyon is. There's been evacuations down there. And obviously, as that heat and temperature move north, we'll continue to see a higher risk for wildland issues.
As you anticipate the upcoming weekend, and we've alluded to the celebratory, I call it the patriotic season here in the state, not only for nationally, but for the state itself with the 24th of July, as someone who is professionally in this, who watches out for the fire dangers, helps fight the fires in the state of Utah, what is your number one concern?
Well, obviously, we want people to follow the restrictions within their communities. Anyone can go on our website. We have typically about 110 communities that report restrictions, especially when they have urban interface issues along the foothills and mountains that may be part of or border their communities. And so we also have restrictions from the state forester, from the BLM, the Forest Service, national parks. So we really want people to be aware of what's going on within their community, any restrictions. A number of communities identify green spaces such as parks or football fields where the community can come and enjoy the celebrations and their patriotic enthusiasm without endangering our neighboring or compromising those areas where there's a large risk for wildland fire.
What about fireworks in non-professional hands? I'll put it that way. We love our fireworks here in the state of Utah, and sometimes there are those who make the excursion outside of the state, and you look at how relaxed things are now compared to how they were 5 and even 10 years ago. And we have some real enthusiasts. How concerned are you about amateur use of fireworks?
Well, we're always concerned, Doug. And as you know, the last couple of years, the communities have been very responsive. We've had very limited firework incidents, small fires. We have probably more risk and danger from people doing silly things with the fireworks, such as handling them after they've been lit or trying to do silly things. But we recommend that they follow what the instructions are. Obviously, we have legalized aerials a few years back, and we recommend that those be anchored. Put a brick next to them. We do have every once in a while where they will tip over because they're supposed to be supported. They do have a clay piece in the bottom that helps hold them down, but a lot of people don't follow the instructions from the manufacturers that are printed on those materials. We do ask them to be careful and follow the discharge dates and times. So today is the first day for sales, and it runs through July 27th, and then discharge is 3 days before, 3 days after the 4th and the 24th, from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., except for the actual day of the holiday where discharge can go up to midnight. So
right.
We just ask them to be very cautious about where they are and be concerned about overhanging branches or buildings or power lines, and let's just have a safe and enjoyable celebration.
Well, a couple of years ago, we took the show on the road. We went out to where much of the training occurs, and firefighters were wonderful in helping us do these demonstrations. We ought to redo it now, especially since radio is so much more visual than it was back then. And I'll never forget one of those great big suckers that shoots up into the air. Boy, if that tips over, it just becomes a nice little cannon fireball that flies into whatever it's pointed out. That was a rather dramatic demonstration. Maybe we ought to recreate that.
Yeah, actually, Doug, we're working with the ATF on doing some post 24th of July. So probably in the August time frame, we're going to work with some of our fireworks suppliers and do some other demonstrations when we know the fuel moistures will be at their lowest levels.
Right.
We'll make sure to invite the media out to those, and hopefully we can do some lessons learned and some other safety advisories for fireworks out of season.
Great. Coy Porter, thank you so much for joining us, our Utah State Fire Marshal.